Greetings, one and all, and welcome to episode number 12 of Baba Talks. The last episode I did was from Dakar, Senegal, and ever since that trip, I have literally been going from one performance or one lecture or from school to school to school since I got back. And I'm also preparing for a couple of upcoming international trips. So I'll share all that with you. But I wanted to get this Baba Talks out because I know there are some of you that this is our medium to communicate. This is how we find out what's going on with one another. Those of you who have been emailing, thank you for the emails. I appreciate it. That lets me kind of know what direction I should go with these Baba Talks, what kind of things what information I should put out. So I appreciate all communications. Thank you guys so much who are emailing me. Now, I've been warned against this, like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that, you shouldn't say this. And I just have to say, this society has a very weird relationship to aging. Very strange. There are people who do not want to say what their ages are, or there are people who try to condition and change themselves up to look younger. I don't know what this is, this worship of youth. I don't possess that gene, so I don't know what it is. But a few days ago, I'm going to talk about it anyway, Baba, me, celebrated my 55th birthday. I am 55 years old, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to, as I age, if I can be given a few more years of this, of enjoying my time and traveling and sharing more stories. I'm going to just keep doing it as long as I'm healthy. I was asked a few days ago by a friend, Albert, if when I was going to retire. And I told him, I said, well, I'm not really considering retiring. I'm not thinking about that. And he's just a little older than me. And he said, yeah, I remember when I said that too. So I'm going to take that wisdom of the years that he possesses, and I'm going to give a little thought to this concept of retiring. But as of right now, feeling as healthy as I do, feeling as good as I do, I want more experiences of sharing music and stories with people and ingesting the wisdom of the world, because if you have never heard me say it before, I have the greatest job in the world, the greatest job. Now, let me give you a little overview of how Senegal went. I visited a few schools in Dakar, Senegal, and I was able to connect on really rich and deep levels with not just students, but some of the citizens of Dakar, people whose paths I came across, teachers, and even administrators. It was a beautiful time. But in the recesses of my mind, the whole time I was there working, I was there for a few weeks. In the recesses of my mind, I kept thinking about getting back to Chadoy. Chadoy is an outlying area just outside of Dakar a little bit. It was where I went when I first went to Africa. If you've read the book Road of Ash and Dust, Awakening of a Soul in Africa, you understand why going back to Senegal was so important to me. And the first week was just about work. I needed to dedicate myself to the institutions that were bringing me there, that were financing me to be there. But the second week belonged to me and my wife. She went with me. And I wanted to use that time to reconnect with my Cissokho family in Chare. So the first week out of the way, and if you have questions about what the work was like, I put on my YouTube channel, I put a ton of videos of what was going on while I was working. So just go to my YouTube channel, Baba the Storyteller, if you want to watch some of those videos of Dakar. And that'll give you an overview of what the work was like. But the richness of the visit, for me, the wealth of reception in the visit occurred when I was able to go to Chadwe. And for those of you who have read the book, you know that in Chadwe, the matriarch, Cissokho matriarch, her name is Momina. And Momina has a very special place in my heart, in my soul, because she is the woman who kept me alive while I was in Chadwe in Senegal almost 30 years ago. She's the one who cared for me, stayed by my bedside when I was bedridden. That's a part of the story in the book. But my goal of going back to Chade was to honor her. Since I hadn't been back in so many years, I really wanted to honor Momina. So months and months prior to my getting back to Senegal, I kept communicating with the younger people who are all adults now. It's fascinating to see all of these people who I once identified as little children having evolved into full adult maturity. So I was communicating with all of these adults. And Momina is a little ill, so she doesn't quite communicate so much. So I wanted her to know I was on the way, I would be coming, and if there was anything she wanted or needed, I wanted to provide her with whatever she might want, need. So I was communicating with the, I call them children. I have to stop doing that. 30 years old is not a child. I know this. Don't ask me why I keep referring to 30-somethings as children. It's something I'm working on, okay? I'll mature into it. Just give me time. But these young adults were communicating with me, letting me know what things were needed and so on and so forth. But I didn't have any opportunities to speak directly to Momina. It was almost like they were blocking me. I want to talk to Momina. I want her to know, oh, Baba, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. When I got there, I found out why. After I had worked my week, the very next day on the weekend, it was a Sunday after finishing up, Tarang Cissokho is, I call him my spiritual son. When I first went to Dakar, Senegal, years ago, Chade was a little boy of about 8 or 9 years old, and he literally followed me everywhere. And then I sort of adopted him at that time, took him under my wing. And it's funny because back then I taught him some songs and, how to rap, things like that. And to this day, he still remembers all of those things that I taught him. And so he was my main contact. So Daran came and picked me up to take me back out to Chade. It's an arduous ride. I won't go into details about it, but it's a journey. It's a journey. And when we finally made it to the compound, I was so excited because I knew Momina would be there waiting for me. I know she would be happy to see me, and I couldn't wait to embrace her. I couldn't wait for the hug, that magical hug. So the compound has these big gates, and we opened up the gates, and I walk in. And when I walk in directly, all the way down, straight ahead of me, down to the end of the pathway, the corridor, there's a long corridor in the compound, is sitting Momina in the most beautiful attire, looking so regal. And I knew right away, I spotted her. But her eyesight wasn't so good, and I was far away. So I'm walking toward Momina, and I'm beaming, I'm smiling. It's hard to describe how I was feeling. I can use words, but words don't suffice in order to truly describe what I was feeling. So I'm walking down the corridor towards Momina, and as I start singing. There's a song for mothers, a song dedicated to motherhood. It's Akwe Dembanima, Momina Cissokho Dembanima, Mungotane Bolotafe, Dembanima, Momina Cissokho Dembanima, Mungotane Bolotafe. So it's a Mandinka song. So I'm singing this song, and I know she can't quite see me, but she can hear my voice. And she's looking around, and I keep singing as I get closer and closer to her. And then when I get close, she can see me. She sees who I am. And then she opens her arms out and she goes, "Ah, Baba!" Memories that will make you smile forever, that was one for me. That was one for me. I got to hug Momina. I got to embrace her after not seeing her for so many years. And I bought a big suitcase of stuff. I just started unloading it, showing her what I bought for her. And I introduced her to my wife, and my wife got to embrace her and hug her. It was a moment. It was a moment. And from that point on, the young people got together and they began drumming for me. And, I was supposed to sit there and accept the drumming that was going on, but hey, I had to grab me a drum and jump in too. All right, I've been playing drums over 30-something years, and there is no way I'm going to sit and watch other drummers drum, especially when you know what's going on. So I contributed my energy to that. I would like to go into way more detail, but I know I've always said I want to keep these Baba talks short. So I'm going to try to keep this one really short too. If you have questions, email me. Just email me your questions, because the next Baba talks, I'll just start answering some of your questions. But Charo was incredible. Dakar Senegal was enchanting. I use that word advisedly. And I can't wait to go back. I cannot let so many years pass being, as we call it in the US, busy. I can't do that anymore. I have to dedicate time towards what really matters. And I'm seeing this the older I get. Like I said, I just turned 55, but each year I'm starting to see that the importance of things aren't always what we were conditioned to think they were. Time is not money. I don't care what anybody tells you. Success is not based on the accumulation of material things. And I'm understanding this. Now, if your truth contradicts mine, that's fine. You can have your truth. This is mine. This is my experience. So aside from Senegal, I would love to talk about that more. I could talk about that for hours. But I want to let you know some other things that have been going on. I got back, I had a few days to relax, and then I was back on the grind. I call it the grind, but when you enjoy your work, not really a grind. I jumped back into visiting schools, and recently I was in Northern California, and I had a tour of a few schools there, which was amazing, absolutely amazing. I visited one school that had an outdoor amphitheater, and I was able to perform and communicate and have some bi-directional facilitated conversation with the children. They were all seventh graders. And here in California, seventh grade, most seventh grade study a curriculum, and part of the curriculum is based on medieval West African history. And when we talk about medieval West African history, that is the role of griots, to bridge that divide. Medieval West African history involves a lot of Ghana, Mali, Songhai. So I get an opportunity to exercise my oral historian skills and some of the Occidental historian skills that I grew up learning and practicing. So the stories involve a lot of legends and a lot of historical figures, and I'm kind of known in California for this. So usually when social studies, middle school social studies hit that part of the curriculum, my phone rings off the hook. I wish I had enough time to visit every single place that would desire to hear or bring to life off of the pages the medieval West African history. I wish I could, but I'm going to produce something so that these schools that can't get me can have access to something. Maybe video, I'll provide some music or something. And I'm going to put that up so that these social studies teachers and history teachers can access that. But my visit to Northern California was amazing. There was one school, it's called Castellero, that I've been visiting for over 15 years. I love going up there. I have been visiting that school for so many years that I almost feel as though I am a part of the staff facility. And we just put it on the books every year. So next year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to spend a little more time. I'll probably extend the tour maybe a week or 2 weeks and visit quite a few more schools, because I wasn't able to visit as many as I wanted this time. But coming back, I had to get back because, once again, I have more schools here than I'm visiting. And not just the schools, but also I like to reconnect. So, you want to see family, you want to spend time with friends, you want to live your life. So I'm trying to make sure that I balance this work-life ethic so that I can spend as much time with those who appreciate me being in their presence as much as I appreciate being in theirs. Now, I know I'm talking kind of fast because I don't want to extend this Baba Talks too long. What's coming up? In another 2 weeks, I'll be in Argentina, Buenos Aires, and I'll be visiting schools in Buenos Aires. I'll be working with a company called Dream On Productions, and my tour manager will be Kiki, a friend of mine going way back. Hi, Kiki. I'll see you soon. And I know that my previous time visiting Buenos Aires was incredible. It was incredible. I don't know if I'll be going back to some of the same schools or not, but whatever schools I visit in the 2 weeks is going to be, I know it's going to be an experience that I will hold on to for the rest of my life. Following that, after Buenos Aires, I have a few other things coming up. Of course, I've got some summer performances. And, an announcement. I was contacted by National Association of Black Storytellers, an organization that I respect immensely. And they have a conference coming up in November. I think it's November 6th to the 10th of this year. I've been asked to be a presenter there, a featured storyteller, something I'm very proud of, extremely proud of. But the other thing that makes this almost surreal for me is the fact that they're going to have it in Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama is a base for my family. I have a huge family in Montgomery and Evergreen and China, Alabama. My great-grandfather was someone I used to visit when I was young in Alabama. And once again, I wish I could go into more details because there's so much richness in the story of my relationship to my great-grandfather. But National Association of Black Storytellers will be having this conference in Montgomery, Alabama. And I've been meaning to get back to Montgomery for years. And now this has provided me with the opportunity to not just reconnect with my storytelling community, but my family as well. And it feels a bit surreal the way things just come together for me. I have a brother, storyteller, my elder brother, Michael D. McCarty. And when we talk, we're always talking about how synchronistic our lives seem to be. We will end up in places and situations that we need to without having put much effort toward it. It's almost like the ancestors have picked you up and are carrying you through life, placing you where you need to be. So National Association of Black Storytellers, I am really looking forward to in November 6th through the 10th. That's going to be happening. And also, in that same month, after I finish that, I have a trip to visit an international school in Doha, in Qatar. Some of you call it Qatar. I've heard the residents there pronounce it as Qatar. So I'm going to respect the residents, pronounce it the way that they do. I'll be visiting Qatar, the international school there. And I'm going to provide you with more information the closer that gets. And there's so much more, but limited time, right? Plus, I have to get out. I actually have a performance I have to get to. And so I'm going to close out here. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to hear me talk about, or there are topics that you want me to broach on these Baba Talks, let me know. Right here, I'm going to put it right here. My email, babathestoryteller@gmail.com. All right? I'm going to leave it here for a little while. Once again, babathestoryteller@gmail.com. Email me, once again. That is how you can get a hold of me the quickest. Visit my website, babathestoryteller.com, and sign up for the email list. I send out notifications as not too often. I probably send them out maybe once, twice a month, if that, because I don't like inundating people with emails, because I don't like getting my inbox filled with stuff. But if you want to know what's happening with me, I do a little newsletter that I've been putting out since, 2006. 2006. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay, let's close this out. I'm your host, Baba the Storyteller, also known as the Ubiquitous Bard, signing off as I always do. Doni Doni, Kunoni Benya Gada. See you again soon.